let's get into this one.
All right.
I am sad to say, though, that there will be no drawing for the month of July.
No drawing for the month of July. Maybe the prize just wasn't worth it. Let me know in the comments, guys. Was the poster not something you guys were into? Would you rather, gift cards or, I don't know, something else? Let us know. Or is it just maybe the topics weren't something you guys wanted to chime in on? Let us know.
So, what are we talking about today?
Boys, season 4 finally wrapped up. So we're going to do a full recap on the season. Full spoilers. So you guys, if you haven't seen it, this is not the episode for you. And we'll do some predictions on where we think it may go based on source material and, other thoughts we may have. Hypotheses.
And I was actually right about something.
Yeah.
Well, a couple things, actually.
Yeah, a couple of our predictions came true.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it all here on this episode. So, guys, welcome to the G-Spot. My name is Chris. With me always. Glad you found it again. Yeah. It's funny because when people hear about the name right away, they're like, oh, God. And then you tell them what it is, and they're like, oh. And then they'll check it out. But it's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. And we lost some of y'all.
When we changed it officially over, yeah.
Yeah.
All good, man. If it's not for them, it's not for them. We want the right people here, and we'll move forward with the people who want to be here, right?
I want to know, though, was it just because of the name, like you got caught with it on something you follow and your significant others, like, the hell you watch? And
I didn't even think of it from that angle, because like if my wife saw it on my YouTube, she'd be like, don't even know it, like, because obviously there's no porn on YouTube, so she wouldn't.
Yes, there is.
Okay, so maybe I'm just too naive. I'm way too naive, apparently. I use YouTube for real things like research and entertainment.
Yeah.
That is not pornographic, so.
But there is definitely porn on YouTube.
Okay. I learned something new today. Let's go back to The Boys, season 4. It was a crazy ride. Crazy ride of a season. Some pretty amazing things happened in the finale. We got to see not only Frenchie and Kimiko come back together, but Kimiko talked for the first time since we've met her outside of a hallucination.
Yeah, and the sad part of that was the one person that she wanted to hear her voice the most couldn't.
Yeah. I'm very curious. Obviously, do you remember her name from Gen V? The girl who has the ability to change your mind with the whisper?
You're asking the person who doesn't remember regular names?
Yeah.
Name of the character? No.
I can't remember her name. Oh, well. Let us know in the comments. You guys are always great about that. Yeah, so she obviously has like the ability to like influence people through touch and also through like telekinesis through the mind. Does she have to actually touch people? Does she have to physically touch you?
That's why she wears gloves.
Okay, yeah, so she has to physically touch you to influence.
Kind of like Rogue.
Okay, so she has a rogue type ability, but instead of stealing your ability, she can influence you. Mm-hmm. Got it, because I know she's good at manipulating your mind. Like she can make you forget things or completely remove an emotion like she did for Sam. Now he's, he can't feel any guilt or shame for what he's doing. So he's just an ultimate killing machine. So yeah, good recap because I didn't remember. So I thought that was interesting because we obviously going into season 4 thought that the whole Frenchie and Kimiko romance was over and we weren't going to see that storyline seen through. But really they were just leading it up to the big cliffhanger at the end, what's going to happen, which is kind of in mirror to if we think about how Gen V ended. It's kind of the same. Everything's up in the air. They're currently under some sort of capture or imprisonment. It seems like Vought's winning. And so it's kind of like, where do we go next? Which we'll get to in a minute. But it was kind of cool that they, they're really drawing together. So I believe, Gen V season 2, which will come out before we see season 5, will really kind of like lay the groundwork of the war we'll see that happens in season 5.
That is going to be very interesting since, again, I never read the comics or anything like that, so yeah. I'm looking forward to see what's coming up.
Yeah, and we'll obviously talk about predictions and comic books and theories and all that in a minute, but what for me, I think it was really great to finally see the Kimiko and Frenchie thing happen. It was also awesome to watch, as we talked about in our previous video, which many of you guys liked. If you haven't seen it yet, we'll put a card up for you. A-Train's journey on this season was something phenomenal, something that you've brought up many times. So do you want to share maybe the conclusion where you think he's going to end up? Not in season 5, but like, what do you think the arc's going to be for him?
He's going to become like a full member of the boys.
Yeah.
I already know that's coming. And he's going to throw away his costume same way that Starlight did, right? And hopefully Huey doesn't save that one too out of trash.
kind of weird, right? Save the costume of the man who killed your first girlfriend. That's been a crazy redemption arc over the last 4 seasons, for sure.
I could see it happening, though, just for comedic effect.
Yeah. I don't know, full spoilers, I don't see many of them making it out of this alive. Maybe Huey and Starlight, but most of them, we're going to see come to a tragic end, usually very tragic and diabolical if it involves Homelander or one of the other crazy soups.
That's right, because no one's safe in this universe.
No one's safe. And if it does follow the line of the comics, then very, very few will, see the end.
Nice. Thank you for that. He's spoiling shit for me.
Hey, I'm not telling you who or when or why, but just that, in The Boys, no one's safe. And just like Game of Thrones, everyone has a chance to die.
In a cool and epic way.
Yeah. Sometimes not so epic, but yeah.
I was going to say, if they're not loved,
sometimes not so epic.
They get a shitty kind of death.
Yeah.
Nothing memorable kind of thing to make them forget.
So, we talked previously on the last video some predictions about what was going to happen with the tumor with Butcher, which is one thing we absolutely got right, was that, and I was actually wrong in that video. I said there was no source material to base that tumor coming to life with V. But then I was very quickly reminded in our comments, love that you guys are always there for us, that there was the cartoon run, and that in that animated version, they decided to take, I believe it's 2 or maybe even 3 of those episodes and make them actual canon to the real universe. And one of them was the episode where the woman has cancer. He gives her V. The cancer becomes sentient, rips out of her body, which may be where we see Butcher going, may not be. But right now, Butcher we saw him get shot. We've seen him, become basically the most powerful creature other than Homelander. What are your thoughts?
I like how the tumor is manipulating him. It's doing conditioning with him. You don't do what I want, I'm not going to help you. You do what I want, and you're going to be powerful.
Yeah.
So it's playing into his desires of wanting to get revenge.
Yeah.
And so I find that extremely fascinating for my end. But what about you?
I would agree that it's very interesting to watch how that character has been baiting him and playing him and kind of manipulating him into being who he wants him to be. Obviously the final nail in that coffin was losing Grace to Ryan, seeing Ryan. I don't think it was Grace's death that really put Butcher over the edge. I think it was Ryan's reaction to killing another person. He's becoming numb to it. And that's where Butcher was like, oh, okay, there really is no saving grace for any of them. Even the one I'm trying to save doesn't give a crap when he takes a life. And so I think that's really, when you see it cut away, and then the next time you see Butcher, he's, full Jeffrey Dean Morgan in control. It's almost like when Huey's talking to him, Butcher's not even present, right? Because he mentions Lenny, and Butcher's just unfazed, just a mask, not even there. So it's like Jeffrey Dean Morgan's wearing Butcher at the time. The tumor is
and the meat suit.
Yeah, it's like a meat suit. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah. But I thought that was really interesting. I think that's going to be, in the comics, and this is going to spoil, so I'm sorry if it spoils it for you as well. The comics, Butcher is ultimately the villain, right? He becomes the villain.
The thing he hated most.
Yeah, so you see that over the last couple of seasons that there's a very thin line between him and Homelander. The biggest villain and supposedly one of the strongest assets for the heroes is also a pretty damn big villain. And so there's a very, very thin line, and then eventually, and we just saw it, I think, happen with the whole Mallory dying and Ryan not caring, is that there's a snap in Butcher where he finally just goes you know what, all soups need to die. And that's ultimately where the second half of the story that we have no idea if you just based on the comics is kind of where it goes, is just crazy and just kills everything.
There's a big slaughter fest.
That's definitely coming. There are way too many people still alive that need to be, taken out.
There was a bunch of slaughter for the good guys, the new vice president.
Oh yeah, so
her kid.
A lot of the B, I wouldn't call them B-list actors, but recurring roles inside of Vought, the writers for the movies, Ashley's assistant, they all got offed at the end of the last season.
But what's Ashley becoming?
That's an interesting thing too. I have a couple different theories. One, I think I favor because I'd like to see it more than anything else, is that she's becoming something we've never seen before. They're creating her into a unique character that ultimately will side with the boys and go against Homelander for all the years of torture and torment and pain and fear and suffering that he put her through. That's my hope. A lot of what I've seen speculation-wise, though, is that she's turning into, because there was just for some more context on why I believe this, there was a previous episode where Sage is talking to Ashley, and she basically says to her, hey, why don't you make yourself useful and basically start producing milk? That way, Homelander at least has a reason to keep you around. So what I think is that they're borrowing from the character of Mother's Milk, his actual mother in the comics, where basically she just becomes this like monstrosity, and her milk has superpower. And basically that's why Mother's Milk in the comics has super strength, is because of the milk he drinks from his mother. So I think that what's going to end up happening is either Ashley's going to become this milk monster and become a slave to Homelander, or she's going to become a way for them to have superpowers and actually fight the war.
Oh.
So she'll have a way for them like to actually power up them, like the whole team. Because in the comics, they're all superpowered. Every one of them. Every one of them is V'd up. So it's an even battle. Right now, what we're watching on the TV, they would be ripped apart in seconds, right?
Yeah.
They have no superpowers, with the exception of Homelander. And if Huey were to take Temp V again, he'd die, just like Homelander's dying. So what I think may happen...
Homelander's dying?
Sorry, Butcher's dying.
Okay.
So what I think may be happening is she's becoming a way for them to even the scales, to even the battle. So if that may be the other prediction I think may be coming.
I'm thankful that they took the opportunity to do was have Robert Singer say balls.
And idiots.
And idiots, yes.
All in like a 2-minute span, too.
I was so happy for that. I told you if they didn't take advantage of that, they'd be idiots.
Yeah.
And I am so thankful that they thought like that as well.
Yeah. I don't know how much of a fan I was of how that like assassination scene played out. It kind of just like made like everybody, even Kimiko, seemed like they were powerless, and then all of a sudden Starlight shows up and she's like just wipes the floor with that fucking shapeshifter. So either Starlight is exceptionally more powerful than even Kimiko or anyone else, or there was just like a weird dynamic going on in that fight. Like none of them could take her down. Bullets to the head didn't do anything, but Starlight choked her to death. I don't get it.
Well, yeah, imagine the rage she was going through. She was just put in captivity.
Yeah. Well, I get that.
Later on, she finds out that Huey was screwing her. And what was that, like 3 fingers in the butter or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. He was like, that was, I forget what exactly he says. Like, that was adventurous or whatever. And he was like, yeah, try to push the level or whatever, level up. Yeah, interesting scenes. The shapeshifter takes a lot of pride and like joy in like putting their victims through like these like life-altering experiences and like living through it for them. They're a pretty interesting thing to do. Yeah. So you already mentioned that Huey was having a relationship with the shapeshifter, which put some strain on him and Starlight, even though at the end, it seems like they're getting back together, but they get captured, so she escapes. Cindy gets reintroduced, which fan favorite for very many people who watch the show. Do you remember who Cindy is?
Cindy, no.
So there's the episode where they basically run into Lamplighter at like a soup facility. I'm trying to remember the name of the actual facility, but it's not coming to me. But anyway, like Lamplighter's working there as one of like the nurses, and Cindy's one of the patients. And she just happens to be like this incredibly powerful, I think she's a what's the word I'm looking for? Telekinesis.
Oh,
anyway.
I think works, I guess.
But she like crushes things. Do you remember like she crushes the door and then she like crushes the dude?
I don't recall.
Oh, yeah. She's a scary soup, very powerful. And anyway, she's the one that throws the boat at the end at Starlight and Huey, and then crushes the anchor, and then Starlight takes off before she can like crush her. Her name's Cindy, and she's one of the more powerful soups, and she just got reintroduced.
I don't remember her.
Along with Love Sausage and then the 2 from Gen V. They were all part of the cleanup crew that you saw, like picking up the boys at the end.
Oh, so I do have a theory of Frenchie.
Okay.
Frenchie is, personally what I see happening with Frenchie is he is now going to be the enemy.
Yeah.
For quite some time until they can snap him out of it or kill him. That's where I see that going.
So I was trying to think about this myself. And I was like, do they value Frenchie's abilities enough to want to keep him alive? Because he is a master chemist, right? Like he's very valuable as a person. He can create the antivirus, since he was the one who made the virus. There's a lot of things that he can do. Is Sage going to use him for something? We don't know, because this is all Sage's plan. Homelander was like falling apart crying in his room at the end of the season, and Sage basically walked in and was like handed him everything, which is the only reason he was able to even create martial law and walk out of this season a victor, was Sage. And so did Sage know the virus is being made? Is she aware? Does she need Frenchie to make the cure? Because she cured cancer when she was a kid. There's no reason why she wouldn't be able to cure the virus. She's intelligent enough. So that's the only reason I think they would keep Frenchie alive, is they need him to like actually be in the lab to create the thing. Otherwise, I think they're just like, walk off the pier, kill yourself. And we don't see Frenchie again.
No, because that would have been a waste, because they could have done that already. They could just, he's gone.
Yeah. Well, I think they're going to need him because, again, he is a master chemist, so.
But yeah, needing him could still be just for infiltration.
Well, what do you mean, infiltrate the boys? Because the boys are no more, they're disbanded.
Yeah, but there's always a reunion tour.
Right. Like they're obviously going to have to come back together to have a victory at any kind. But I don't think that they are going to use him as what's
Trojan horse.
Yeah, like a Manchurian candidate, basically. Yeah. I don't think that's the role they're going with him. Plus, with the Supes being shapeshifters and being able to manipulate the mind and do all the things they can do, they wouldn't just trust Frenchie right away. They would be keeping an eye on him and be very skeptical, especially knowing that like they're all captured.
Especially if he came back sober.
Yeah, that's it. That dude's on at least 3 drugs at all times.
Is that all?
At least. Yeah. He's always popping or smoking something, which I don't know how the dude functions the way he does, but hey, that's his character. So Victoria Newman's dead, and she has a super able daughter who just went to Red River. What do you think the future of the daughter is? She got that cool little mouth tentacle thing that happens.
No.
She ripped Kimiko's arm off with it, so they're powerful.
Yeah.
So.
And acidic.
Yeah, some sort of venom, acid, yeah.
It melted her skin. But she could go either way. It's just like when kids are growing up, they either become just like their parents or do the exact opposite. So
yeah.
I honestly don't know. She could want revenge, or she could be cultivated into a weapon for them. Because lots of crazy manipulation stuff that goes on in all forms of government anyway, so there's plenty of that kind of stuff going around, especially in this universe where they twist everything to the max. It wouldn't surprise me whichever direction they go.
Yeah. So I think Huey has a big heart, right? And he feels personally responsible for Victoria Newman's death, right? Because he said, you'll be safe, come in.
They were like college friends, right?
Well, he worked with her. When he left the boys and he went into like the government to like make a difference with the Supes, he worked with Victoria Newman. He was like her right hand.
But they made it seem like they knew each other a long time before that.
No, he met her through the boys organization. Well, through leaving the boys and going to work. They didn't know each other previously.
Oh, okay. I thought they were like old college friends or something.
Not to my knowledge. That's maybe I missed that. But because he talks about, like, he brings up her older years, and she's very curious why he's asking, because of that one guy who comes to the office, calls her by a different name, calls her Nadia instead of Victoria, because her actual name from her time at Red River. So that would have been before, like, yeah, Yui does. I don't think they knew each other before the working together. Let us know in the comments what you guys like, if there's difference. But I bring it up because I think what's going to end up happening is Huey's going to break the daughter out of Red River, because he's going to feel guilty about getting Victoria killed. He's going to feel guilt around Victoria hating growing up there, hating the life that she had there, trying to do everything she could to get away from it, never wanting that for her daughter. She expressed these things when she was trying to get Huey on her side. And so I think that Huey's going to take these things to heart. He's going to break her out, and she's actually going to become another super asset for the boys moving forward. Or they'll save her and like stow her away somewhere.
Gotcha. All right.
What about Stan Edgar? And he's been in the shadows since he got escaped. He's a very powerful figure. What do you think he's going to do?
I don't think he's going to do very much.
No?
He's not very liked. The the most I could see them doing with him is have him become a straight-up turncoat because he realized that Homelander's too fucking powerful.
Well, Homelander's already in charge of the government. There's nothing we can do about that now. So even if he turned or gave information, or if we shed light on Homelander's misdeeds, I don't think that would affect his ability to rule.
Though, because he was in charge of the whole organization, right?
Yeah, he was CEO of Vought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he knows all the dirty little secrets and all the programs and safeguards that they could have put in place for Homelander.
Yeah.
Because they knew from early on that they needed to control him because of how powerful he was going to be.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he has a bunch of other plans or projects that we haven't seen yet.
Interesting.
That he could bring to the reunited boys and help them go ahead and stop Homelander and the rest of the crew, because he only has his own self-interest at heart. And so if his life or comfort is threatened in any way, you know he's going to do whatever he can to regain maybe some control and some of that comfort back.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you mentioned that his main driving force is self-interest, because I would believe that his main driving force is going to be revenge moving forward, because the only thing he ever really loved was Victoria and her daughter. The only thing he cared enough to like let himself go down and let her rise and let that whole thing happen without a single, raise of an eyebrow from him. He's just like, I raised her well, love her. That was awesome. And now she's dead, killed by someone he does not like. And so a super able person, even though, it's Butcher too, so he hates Butcher, I don't think he's going to take that information lightly. I think we're going to watch Stan Edgar do some big moves, even if it's from the shadows and he uses resources like you're talking about that we haven't seen yet, maybe other contingencies or fail-safes that are in place to take down Supes. I don't think we're done seeing Stan Edgar.
Well, I see revenge as still being under the umbrella of self-interest.
Okay.
So to me, that's self-interest is the world revolves around me. If my world is fucked with in any way, then I'm going to do something to change it.
Okay. I guess I could see where you're coming from. I guess in my mind, there could be instances where revenge is a selfless act, especially if one knows that they're not going to walk away from taking that revenge. Just making sure that like someone who kills someone who raped their child or something like that, I feel like that revenge is not necessarily an act of selfishness, but selflessness.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, this is here or there. But then what I would like to leave this on is the fate of the actual Seven, because they are basically just puppets of Homelander. He is moving them around, using them as he needs. If they don't do what he says, he's like a vengeful god right now, wrathful. I think that we may be seeing Firecracker having the early stages of the actual virus, and she just thinks that it's from her medication and that she might actually be infected. However, Homelander is too strong to be infected, so he doesn't know it, but he's going to slowly be in his system.
So I thought that Starlight had it also, because I didn't realize that she had switched places with the shapeshifter. When the finger started to deteriorate.
Oh, yeah.
That's when I was thinking, I was like, oh, fuck, that's the virus, isn't it? And when she stormed out of there with that falling apart, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, shit, Chris was right about that one. They're infected.
Yeah. No, I missed the mark on that one. I was just a scene that didn't matter. The goat was right, or the sheep was right there. They were right there, but they didn't get infected. So I guess unless you get bodily fluid, it's not airborne yet, right? So it has to be some sort of bodily fluid, blood, semen, something something discharged from the body, saliva, that actually can contain that virus. And so I guess it just didn't hit them. So
if Firecracker is infected, and that woman that you were talking about that can crush
Cindy,
so if she could crush Firecracker, essentially that would turn her to mist and a bomb.
Well, Firecracker doesn't necessarily I don't think she has that much power.
It's not the power, it's her body just turning to mist because Cindy crushing her.
Yeah, but the
virus.
The
that would make the virus airborne because of all the blood particles being crushed.
100%. Yeah.
That
It'd be like sneezing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except on a massive scale and turn her into a freaking bomb.
Yeah, but then Cindy would also kill herself in the process, right? Because there's no way she's not getting that on her. And she's a soup abled, so anybody soup abled is going to be sick.
Could be ignorance. She may not know.
That's another thing that's interesting about the very end of the season is who do they actually all work for?
What do you mean?
So do we know for sure that they were taken by Vought? Or were they taken by a team of soups who are also on the run or also looking to overthrow Vought or have a vendetta against Homelander? Because if you look at who actually took them, with the exception of Sam, and the girl's name I can't remember, Love Sausage was left almost dead at the end of Herogasm because of Homelander. Cindy was trapped and experimented on for years because of Vought and all their shit. Why would they all of a sudden just turn around and work for them?
That's a good point.
So, I mean, with Sam, with Kimiko in that situation, they're teamed up with Homelander. We already know that. But the other teams, we've never seen them work with Homelander before. And, matter of fact, they've been directly hurt by that organization. So I don't necessarily believe that everyone was taken by an enemy.
But that's what they want us to think.
Right. I believe, yeah. I think there's
So
something
you're
else.
thinking there's two competing factions to scoop up these people to use them.
Yes, or they're all operating as the same faction, but it's a hidden agenda. So they're arresting them as if, but they're not actually going to turn them in. They're going to take them to their own, resistance base or whatever you want to call it.
Well, damn.
Because at the end of Gen V, they were kidnapped and they're in that white room, but they're freaking drinking like slushies and like living it up, and none of them look scared. And if you were caught by Vought after a massacre at your college, you wouldn't be sitting there all happy-go-lucky drinking a slushy smiling. Like, you would be a little fearful.
Well, they pinned it on the other people, the innocent people.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Those are the people that were sitting in the room seeming all happy.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, and then, obviously lots of deaths coming, so.
Yes.
And season 5 was confirmed to be the last season, but then they hit us with a bunch of awesome extra news that they have 2 brand new spin-off shows happening. One with basically the backstory of Stormfront and Soldier Boy, so we're getting Jensen Ackles as a star role in his own series because we loved him as Soldier Boy so much. Then we
I
have
think it was more him as an actor, period.
he's really good, yeah. And then we got the Vought Mexico, so we have if that's what they call it for right now, just Vought Mexico. And so basically we're going to get a version only down in Mexico with Mexican soups speaking Spanish, so that's going to be cool. And then we have another season of Gen V, and then we will be hopefully another rumor, just a rumor, don't know any true facts on this or any data, but that they are going to wrap up the main storyline in an epic 2.5 hour movie that we get to go see in cinema.
The movie would be cool.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they did with Firefly.
So let us know, what do you think? Was season 4 awesome? Do you think they should do a final movie after season 5? What are your thoughts of the new series that are coming out? Let us know in the comments.
And what should the raffle prize be?
Yeah, reminder, yeah. No one entered in for this month, so was it the prize? What was it?
All right, let us know in the comments. As always, make sure you like, follow, and share.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys in the next one. G-Spot out.